The recent murder of Brian Thompson, CEO of United Healthcare, has ignited heated debate and raised the question, did America unintentionally create a martyr? Amid a growing political and social divide following the recent presidential election, this tragedy highlights a broader tension in the American healthcare system. Before we delve deeper, let's clarify. Murder, unequivocally wrong. Taking a life, regardless of intent, is not a solution to societal problems. Murder, bad. Now, with that important caveat addressed, let's examine this unfolding story. On the 4th of December 2024, Thompson was shot multiple times from behind while walking in New York City. He succumbed to his injuries in the hospital. Authorities have charged Luigi Mangione with the crime. The allegations against Mangione and the subsequent public and media response have thrust him into the spotlight, with some viewing him as a martyr. A martyr is someone who suffers persecution or death for their beliefs, principles, or cause. In Mangione's case, some claim his alleged actions were driven by a desire to shed light on the inequalities of the American healthcare system, a system often criticised as overly complex and profit-driven at the expense of patient welfare. The media and political elite have painted Mangione in polarising ways. Arrested 5 days after the shooting, Mangione was paraded in chains and surrounded by heavily armed police, evoking images of a dangerous criminal or even a fictional supervillain. This excessive display, reminiscent of scenes from an action movie, has ironically fueled public sympathy. One viral Mangione flanked by at least 13 officers, 4 of whom carried assault rifles, leading many to sarcastically compare him to Magneto from X-Men. Mangione faces 15 charges, including first-degree murder, terrorism-related charges, and multiple firearms offences. Despite the gravity of the charges, his treatment contrasts starkly with how other high-profile incidents, such as the January 6 Capitol riots, were handled. The Capitol rioters attempted to undermine democracy through violence and intimidation, even constructing gallows to execute public officials. Despite the severity of their actions, many rioters did not face the same intense public shaming or legal threats Mangione now confronts. There were no dramatic perp walks, no death penalty threats, and no media frenzy akin to Mangione's. Even Donald Trump, who incited the insurrection, was re-elected as president. Mangione's case has sparked widespread debate, especially among young adults. A recent poll found that 40% of Americans aged 18 to 29 believe his actions were justified, a shocking figure considering the moral implications of murder. This sentiment may stem from public frustration with systemic inequities in healthcare. Stories of people denied critical care to maximise corporate profits resonate deeply, especially in a system where life and death often hinge on financial solvency. Mangione's education and media portrayal as a handsome and principled individual have only fueled the narrative. For some, he represents a figure willing to act on frustrations that many share but suppress. However, this romanticisation of violence raises troubling questions about morality, justice, and societal desperation. Critics have also highlighted inconsistencies in how the justice system handles violent acts. Mangione faces harsh treatment and the potential death penalty, while school shooters and the Capitol rioters often receive comparatively lenient treatment if they survive their actions. This disparity underscores concerns about how justice is handed out based on societal or political narratives. Ultimately, Mangione's actions, if proven, are indefensible. Violence and murder should never be glorified or justified. However, the systemic issues that may have driven such an act cannot be ignored. The American healthcare system has long been criticised for prioritising profit over people, driving some to acts of desperation. This case should prompt reflection. What leads individuals to commit such extreme acts? And how can a society address systemic failures without descending into chaos? While Mangione's actions may ultimately achieve little in the long run, they reveal an undercurrent of frustration that cannot